Hi, this is Carrie Beach from the South Carolina Department of Education, Office of Personalized Learning, and welcome to a quick tour of the 4.0 rubric element thinking and how it connects to the Measuring PCBL Toolkit. The purpose of this video is to provide a short introduction of how the Measuring PCBL Toolkit outcomes can help you measure growth in the thinking indicator. If you haven't watched the welcome video in the header of the crosswalk document that explains our overall purpose, we suggest you watch that before continuing with this video. The Measuring PCBL Toolkit focuses on 8 outcomes that we believe are distinctive of a PCBL system. The toolkit was created to help measuring PCBL impacts as accessible as possible for classroom teachers, school coaches and leaders, and anyone wanting to document the effects of PCBL practices for learners. Let's dig in and learn more about the connections between this 4.0 element and the Measuring PCBL Toolkit outcomes. If you're wanting to measure your impact within the element of thinking, there are several options that you could choose from. But for the sake of this video, we'll be focused on the student outcome of engagement. We know that when effective thinking strategies are taught and used with fidelity within the classroom, it increases student engagement with the concepts being learned. Now let's look to see how you could use engagement to measure impact in the 4.0 element of thinking. Based on the research of educational neuroscientist Dr. David Sosa, engagement can be defined as the amount of attention, interest, curiosity, and positive emotional connections that students have when they are learning, whether in the classroom or on their own. When students are engaged, they are actively analyzing, creating, reflecting, and collaborating. Students are also connected to the learning because it is relevant and meaningful to them. They are excited about learning. The indicators for the 4.0 rubric element thinking and the PCBL outcome engagement can work together to support teachers in collecting valuable data on how engaged students are when it comes to critical thinking. For example, on the 4.0 rubric, teachers are expected to teach 3 types of thinking to students that empower them to analyze, compare, contrast, create, design, explore multiple perspectives, and apply what they've learned to real-life scenarios. The engagement data collection tool has several survey questions that can provide insight on how engaged students feel in lessons when they are using these types of thinking. The survey questions can also help capture how effectively students are able to connect what they are learning to real-life situations. Using this tool can be helpful for teachers seeking to grow their instructional practices in this area. Let's take a look at the crosswalk to see how we might use the data collection tools in the Measuring PCBL Toolkit. Let's imagine I'm a middle school math teacher who wants to boost engagement with students through increasing thinking strategies. I'm going to click on Engagement, which will take me to several prompts and questions that I can use to create a survey for my students to gauge where my current impact is. I noticed that each prompt has a code for which grade level it fits best. Since I'm a middle school teacher, I want to make sure the prompts fit where my learners are. I might pick a prompt that I can use with a Likert scale, like my teacher makes lessons interesting, or I get so focused on activities in my class that I lose track of time. Then I might also choose an open-ended question like, which projects, assignments, or activities that happen in this class make you feel the most excited and eager to participate? I could also tailor the survey to ask specifically about how engaged students are when it comes to the various thinking strategies. After creating the survey, I could give it to one or all of my classes, depending on what I was trying to measure. Once the survey results are in, I could analyze the data by myself, with my coach, or with another colleague to see what I notice and wonder about my students' responses on their levels of engagement. Then I could use the data to make some changes in my instruction based on what my students said. If my SLO was focused on the same 4.0 element, I could even use these prompts as pre and post data related to a competency I might be working on in my class. If you're wondering if you can do this with more than one outcome at a time, the answer is yes. You can use each of these tabs as a menu to pull from if it relates to the 4.0 element you are trying to measure. Now, what if I'm a school leader or an instructional coach? How can I use the same crosswalk? Well, if your school has identified a few of the 4.0 elements to focus on for the year, then you could ask everyone to focus on the same one, or you could give them a choice between a few. Then, as a coach or school leader, you could create a school-wide survey using the prompts and questions from the data collection tool that apply to the 4.0 elements that are your focus. Have teachers give the survey to one class during a given class period, and then reflect on that whole school data or individual class data when you're meeting as a team. Teachers could set their own growth goals around the data from their students. That is just one way that you can leverage the connection between the 4.0 element thinking and the data collection tools in the Measuring PCBO Toolkit. Now it's your turn to think about which Measuring PCBO Toolkit outcome you want to focus on and explore the survey prompts and questions. We love to partner with educators, so please reach out to your regional coach by going to personalizesc.ed.sc.gov/contact us.